So if you're like most people, nobody really sat you down and explained how money actually works. You kinda just get thrown into it. Credit cards, bills, jobs, and you're expected to figure it out on the fly. That's where most people mess up. Not because they're dumb, but because they were never taught. The first thing I always tell people is this: you don't need to be rich to start being smart with money. That's a myth. People think, oh, I'll start saving when I make more, or I'll invest when I have extra. But the truth is, if you don't manage a little well, you won't manage a lot well either. So step 1, just know where your money is going. That sounds simple, but most people genuinely don't know. They check their bank account, see money in there, spend it, and hope for the best. Instead, just track it for a week, not forever. Just a week. You'll probably notice things like random subscriptions, eating out more than you thought, or small purchases that add up way faster than you expect. And I'm not saying cut everything out. That's another mistake. If you try to go from spending freely to being super strict overnight, you'll burn out. Instead, just be intentional. If you like eating out, cool, just know you're doing it and plan for it. Now let's talk about saving, because this is where people either overcomplicate it or avoid it completely. You don't need some crazy system. Just start with something simple like paying yourself first. That just means when money comes in, a small portion goes to savings immediately, before you spend anything else. Even if it's like 10% or, honestly, even 5% to start, it builds the habit. And habits matter way more than the amount in the beginning. Over time, you can increase it, but getting consistent is the real win. Because the goal isn't to feel restricted, it's to build stability. You want to reach a point where saving money feels automatic, not emotional. Next thing, emergency fund. This is one of those things people ignore until they need it, and then it's too late. Life always throws something at you. Car repair, medical bill, job situation, whatever. Having even a small cushion changes everything. You don't need 6 months of expenses right away like people online say. Start with a goal like $500 or $1,000. That alone can save you from going into debt when something unexpected happens. And here's the key part people miss. Your emergency fund isn't for opportunities. It's not for sales, not for trips, not for, I kind of want this right now. It's strictly for problems. The moment you blur that line, it stops working. Speaking of debt, let's talk about it honestly. Debt isn't always evil, but it can get out of control really fast if you're not paying attention. The biggest thing is interest. That's what traps people. If you're carrying a balance on something like a credit card, it's working against you every single day. And it's not just the balance, it's the mindset it creates. When you're in debt, every paycheck already has a piece of it claimed before you even see it. That can quietly stress you out more than you realize. If you have multiple debts, a simple approach is to focus on one at a time. Either knock out the smallest one first for momentum, or go after the highest interest one to save money long term. Both work, it just depends on what keeps you motivated. Now here's something that a lot of people don't realize. Increasing your income matters just as much as cutting expenses. You can only cut so much, but there's no real limit to how much you can earn. That doesn't mean you need to start some huge business tomorrow. It could be as simple as picking up extra hours, learning a skill, or finding a better paying job over time. Even small increases make a big difference when you're consistent. And one of the most underrated things here is skill stacking. You don't need to be the best at one thing. You just need to be solid at a few things that work together. For example, basic communication plus a technical skill, or customer service plus sales ability. Those combinations tend to open more doors than people expect. Let's get into investing for a second, because people either think it's gambling or they think it's too complicated. It's neither, if you do it the right way. At a basic level, investing is just putting your money somewhere it can grow over time instead of just sitting there. The key word is time. You don't need to chase crazy returns or pick the perfect stock. In fact, trying to do that usually makes things worse. A simple, long-term approach beats most get-rich-quick strategies. Think consistency over hype. Even investing a small amount regularly can grow a lot over time because of compounding. That's basically your money earning money, and then that money earning more money. But here's what people don't really think about. Investing isn't just about picking assets, it's about behavior. The biggest difference between people who grow wealth and people who don't usually isn't knowledge, it's patience. Most people quit too early, panic too fast, or try to time things they don't need to time. And honestly, the boring approach usually wins. Set something consistent, ignore the noise, and let time do the heavy lifting. Another thing, avoid comparing yourself to people online. Social media makes it look like everyone is making crazy money, flipping investments, or living perfectly. Most of that isn't reality, or it's not sustainable. A lot of people show results, not the process, and that's where the illusion comes in. You might see someone saying they made thousands in a week, but you don't see the losses, the risks, or the times it didn't work. And that can mess with your expectations if you're not careful. Focus on your situation, your income, your goals, your timeline. Personal finance is personal for a reason. Also, don't ignore your mindset around money. If you see money as something stressful or something that always disappears, that affects how you handle it. Try to shift it into something you control, even if it's just a little at a time. Because the goal isn't just to have money, it's to feel stable with it. There's a big difference between having money and knowing you're okay, even when things aren't perfect. A lot of financial stress comes from uncertainty, not actual numbers. When you start tracking, saving and planning, even small amounts, that uncertainty drops. And that alone changes how you feel day to day. You also start making better decisions naturally. You don't overspend as much, you don't panic buy things, and you stop reacting emotionally to money situations. It becomes more structured instead of chaotic. And one more thing people don't talk about enough. Mistakes are part of the process. Everyone messes up with money at some point. Overspending, bad purchases, missed savings goals, debt mistakes. It happens. The difference is whether you learn from it or repeat it. You don't need a perfect track record, you just need a better direction over time. And that leads into something important. Your financial life isn't built in a day, it's built in small decisions stacked on top of each other. What you do with your first paycheck, your first bill, your first credit card, those habits shape everything later. So instead of trying to be perfect, focus on being slightly better than you were before. That's enough momentum to change your situation over time. And one last thing that's honestly underrated, patience. This stuff doesn't change overnight. Building good financial habits takes time, and the results come gradually. But once it starts compounding, it really does make a difference. So if you take anything from this, just keep it simple. Know where your money goes, save a little consistently, avoid high-interest debt, increase your income when you can, and invest for the long term. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be consistent.